think we are live now.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, everyone in Montreal, good afternoon, good morning on the West Coast. I'm here to present. First of all, I'd like to say welcome to my immigration experience from child immigrant to beauty queen with Bremiella de Guzman at the Second National Asian Heritage Symposium. So before we start, I would like to acknowledge many of us are settlers, immigrants, or descendants of those forcefully brought to the land where you are now, or you are indigenous and not indigenous to the territory where you are now. Regardless of who you are, we pay respect and recognize the original custodians of the land where we are. Out of respect for the rights of indigenous people, it's our collective responsibility to critically interrogate the colonial histories and present-day implications of this. The work that we do on behalf of Festival Accès, Asie is from the perspective of honoring, protecting, and sustaining this land and its people who were first on this territory. We strive to go beyond just acknowledging the land and weave in indigenous knowledge, share principles, and invite you to move beyond an acknowledgement and into the doing. My name is Kiran Ambwani. I'm a freelance photographer based in Montreal and board member of Festival Accès. And it is with great honor that I present to you, and I would like to introduce to you, Bremiella de Guzman, the first Miss Canada of Filipino heritage. So a little bit about Bremiella. Born and raised in the Philippines, Bremiella immigrated to Canada at the age of 10 and found it was important for her to showcase her culture to others. A social worker, Bremiella has collaborated with various community organizations and is involved with the Special Olympics. She has also helped raise money for earthquake victims in the Philippines. In today's webinar, Bremiella will delve into her coming-of-age journey, shaped by her own lived experiences as a child immigrant. From adjusting to a new environment, language, and culture to finding a sense of belonging and purpose, she will explore the challenges, obstacles, and triumphs in navigating and bridging two completely different worlds. She will also talk about giving back to her communities and pursuing the world of pageantry as a platform to advocate for diversity and inclusion. So without further ado, Bremiella.
Thank you. All right, so let's begin. It's very casual, guys. If you have coffee or anything, just drink up. And yeah, let's have a chat. So hello, everyone. My name is Bremiella, like everybody said, and I'm the reigning Miss Canada 2020, and I'm the first Filipina to covet this title. It still feels very surreal to me when I say that, but I'd like to go back to the very first night that this became a reality for me. So the Gala night for Miss Canada this year was held in Laval, Quebec on March 8th. And during this night, we have our opening number, our evening gown segment, our speeches, and then of course we have the final question and answer. I remember being at peace throughout the entire show. And of course there were some nerves, but I was able to mitigate them by shifting my focus on my goal, which is to make it to top 5. And now, obviously, I was thinking how nice it would be to wear this crown. But as an introvert, being on stage with the most empowered, talented, and smart women across the country alone was already an accomplishment to me. So for those of you who are not familiar with how pageants work, or most pageants, the question and answer round typically is reserved for the top 5 or 10 finalists, and it can be that final determining factor on who gets to be the winner of the title. So they called me for top 5, and my initial reaction was, oh my God, I reached my goal, yay! And then other women I became very close with were called as well, so I was even more elated. And came another group of girls who started to put earphones in our ears, blasting music so that so that we can hear the question when it's not our turn to answer. And I remember trying so hard to jam along to the rock music that was playing, and then the nerves just exploded. And I realized I might actually have a shot at this. So I started to tell myself that whatever the question is, with everyone watching, I have to be sure that whatever I say, it's a reflection of why I'm even there in the first place. And the question was, what's your favorite animal? No, I'm just kidding. It was, what is the hardest thing you've experienced in life and how did you overcome it? So I had 1 minute to answer, and the first thing that came to mind was immigrating to Canada when I was only 10 years old. I've never had to drop everything and start over completely, except for that time. During the minute that I was answering, my head was actually somewhere else. I was thinking of my childhood best friend, Angela. The day before my family boarded the plane to Canada, I was actually still in school, and the school that I went to had their students help clean the classrooms after school. And my best friend and I happened to be on duty that day. So after we cleaned, I went to go say goodbye to her. And she was hiding in our classroom's kitchen, and she had her hands on her face. She's covering it, and her back was turned facing me. So I turned her around and I asked, "What's wrong?" Right? And she said, and I'll never forget this, "You're going away and you won't be the same anymore." And she was right. When my parents, my brothers, my 3 brothers, and I moved to Canada, we lived in a 3-bedroom basement. And this was actually an upgrade to our home in the Philippines, as we all slept on the floor in the same room back then. For the first time in my life, I had my own room, and it was awesome. Then I started to go to school in the middle of the school year, and then it started to hit me. I had a really hard time making friends. I mean, I was fortunate in a way that when I was younger, I loved writing and English was always my favorite subject. So I knew how to speak English, but also very unlucky because in the Philippines, the way that they teach English and the pronunciation that they use is very different. So naturally, I had this accent, and I was very ashamed of it. And at school, I didn't speak unless I was spoken to. I loved learning though, and at that time, I believed I really liked math. Though in hindsight, I think I loved it only because I was way ahead of everyone else. In the Philippines, where I went to school, we were learning very advanced algebra and geometry already in 5th grade. So every time there was a seemingly impossible math problem that the teacher would put on the board here in Canada, I would put up my hand, and without saying a word, I would just solve it before my classmates' eyes within seconds. And the look on their faces made me feel so good because I knew that I was compensating for the other looks that they were giving me when I tried to speak English. I was very insecure of the way I sounded, and I spent many nights reading books out loud and watching movies to train my tongue to pronounce words the right way. Every time my mom invited me to watch a movie, like a Filipino movie with her, I would turn her down in disgust, ashamed of the very language that gave rise to my accent, that gave kids a reason to make fun of me. So I spent the following summer practicing English, and at some point, I started to speak only English at home. And at first, my parents didn't mind because it was also practice for them. But then I just stopped speaking Tagalog at home. When I entered middle school, I pretty much mastered the art of hiding my accent. Occasionally, I would slip, but I figured I could blame it on the fact that I was also learning French now. Now, middle school is a lot bigger than my previous elementary school, and just when I thought I got rid of the thing that the kids were making fun of me for, I realized how cruel kids can be. So within the first week, they started to make fun of my Walmart clothes and my thrifted shoes. Yeah, and to be honest, it's not even their words that were hurtful. It's the fact that at that time I knew my dad, who was a former civil engineer in the Philippines, now worked hard as a laborer here in Canada to buy me those things. He was making $14 an hour at the time to feed his family of 6, and the little money he had left, he would ask me to pick some nice clothes at the department section while we were grocery shopping. So it really angered me that those kids' words had the ability to deduce and taint my dad's honest hard work. Sorry guys if I'm like emotional. um, so they started to also make fun of the foods that I was bringing home for lunch or bringing to school for lunch. And there was one particular bully who would like exaggerate gagging noises whenever I used the microwave. So, and the teacher did nothing about it. And so most of the time I actually ate my food cold. When I started having crushes, there was this boy who I really liked. He was tall, he had long blonde hair, he had like striking blue eyes. And when I finally had the courage to talk to him, he had told me that I had a large nose and that I was ugly. So when I entered high school, I thought it'd be a good idea to bleach my hair and put on some blue contact lenses. And at 8th grade, I was walking around with bright orange bleach hair and the fakest blue eyes. By this time, I felt really knocked down. I didn't mind the way that I sounded anymore, but I was insecure about the way that I looked. I was at a point in my life where I looked in the mirror and I wanted to change everything I saw. So my childhood best friend was right. I went away and I wasn't the same anymore. And I hated it. I was shallow and I let other people I let other people's thoughts about me control what I did. But the one thing that never changed about me was my passion for learning. I wanted to learn to play an instrument. So I asked my mom if I could join the concert band at school and play the flute. So of course my very supportive parents, my dad, who was now a surveyor at the time, and then my mom, who was a care aid worker, they purchased a brand new flute for me, and they would spend the rest of my high school years paying it off monthly. And I'd like to think that's partly the contributing factor why I stayed in band, but the entire time in high school, I actually really loved my band family. I went to an inner city high school and we were the most diverse bunch. We came from different backgrounds, cultures, and different walks of life. And just being around them started to shift my perspective in my life. Many of my friends were first and second generation immigrants themselves, and we shared some very similar experiences. We were all very smart, hardworking, and ambitious. So looking back, and I don't speak for everybody, only myself, but I realized that my parents' sacrifices of leaving behind everything that they owned, built, and worked hard for were so deeply ingrained in me that I was walking through life hoping that I could one day measure up to the expectations and the dreams that they had set for me. So imagine, my dad was an established and well-respected civil engineer in the Philippines, and my mom also was one of the best psychologists in her field, and she worked at an institution, a renowned institution there, and they left it all behind because even with their well-respected careers, they worried that their combined income could never afford to put 4 kids through college or university. So while they had big dreams for my brothers and I, they also abandoned their own careers, their friends, their families, just so we can come to this land of opportunities. I mean, looking back, there was definitely a lot of pressure to be great and to do great things. But at the same time, it was difficult to think outside the box in terms of what paths to take. And I mean, bless my parents, they never forced me to be anything, but they did entertain the idea that I would be a nurse or a doctor a lot. So in university, I was studying science in my first year, and I was deciding whether or not I should be a pharmacist or a nurse when suddenly I failed my chemistry class. And pharmacy was quickly out of the picture. Oh my God, chemistry was awful. So I said, let me try nursing. And the way that the nursing program at UBC, where I was going to school, was structured was you had to take some science courses, some social sciences, a couple electives. And then I saw that on the program requirements that you could take the social work course. Have some noises. Okay. Now, I always loved helping people, and throughout high school, I had been a volunteer, and I really enjoyed working with some of the vulnerable populations. So I figured I'd take the intro to social work courses that that offered, and I fell in love. I got into the social work program, and I loved every minute of it. My favorite subjects were the Indigenous courses that I have to admit I didn't even start truly learning about the Indigenous cultures and history in Canada until then. So I had this project idea in one of the classes I had, and it was to create some parallels between Indigenous artworks in Canada and the Philippines, with a particular focus on traditional clothing wear. And while I was conducting my research, I would come across these Filipino pageant girls who wore the most stunning, modernized Indigenous clothes. So to feed my curiosity, I started to watch pageants in the Philippines. And the national pageants in the Philippines had what they called a national costume segment. And some of the girls who would represent their province would come out with these beautiful Indigenous ensembles, and I was hooked. I love the fact that each individual took the time and the effort to work with these local and amazing designers to create intricate designs that were not only symbolic to their province that they are representing, but also sparked a teaching moment for the viewer, like me, who wanted to know more about that culture. So naturally, I too wanted to participate in something like this. So when I graduated from university and started working, I had a little bit of free time on my hands, and I hate free time. So I ventured into pageantry, and there are a lot of pageant systems in Canada, and the one national pageant that had a national costume segment also had a swimsuit presentation, which personally I wasn't comfortable with. So I scrapped that idea, and I came across the original and trademark Miss Canada organization, which is the organization I'm representing. And so this organization is a convivial pageant that promotes authenticity, respect, confidence, and congeniality. It's a pageant that provided a platform for women and young girls to share what they're passionate about and advocate for causes that they believe in. And I thought, you know what, why not? I've always been, very introverted and shy, and I wanted to challenge myself and to be out of my comfort zone. So I treated it sort of as a learning opportunity. And so I went to Miss Canada in 2019, and I made it to top 10. I was asked for the final Q&A, what was unique about or special about our province where we are from? And I'm from BC. So my initial thought was BC was the first province in our country to close down institutions for people with intellectual disabilities. And I knew this information from working in the disability field as a facilitator. And for whatever reason, what came out of my mouth was totally something else. I said, BC is diverse and multicultural, and it's made up of people from different backgrounds and walks of life. And I think that's what makes our province beautiful. So it's like a typical pageant answer. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it also wasn't original. um, and I didn't stay true to the cause and the reason I was there in the first place. So I think, I remember really regretting and missing the opportunity to speak about the realities that individuals with intellectual disabilities, especially those that they faced in institutions, and how their segregation gave rise to some of the most discriminatory beliefs in our society today. So I ended up not winning that year, but I may have done something right, because as soon as I got home, a business, Suki Bath Motors, wanted to sponsor me to compete at Miss BC. And I ended up winning that pageant, but only after speaking about inclusion for people with intellectual disabilities and their barriers that prevent them from fully participating in our community. It was my own testimony, and it was a vision that I had for individuals and families that I was already working with. It felt validating and empowering to go from being afraid to speak my mind publicly and in a huge crowd, but also that somebody listened and actually agreed and gave me the crown. So from there, I was sent back. Yeah, I was sent back to Miss Canada, and the rest is history. And now I know a lot of people still criticize pageantry and its relevance in today's society. And I can't speak for all pageant system, only the ones that I've ventured into. But the Miss BC and Miss Canada organization have both been about providing opportunities for ambitious women and young girls to speak their truth and to launch them into the field of helping and the field of community service. It's always been about finding one's voice and using it for good. And all of the girls that I've competed with have gone on to do amazing things for their own communities, with or without a crown. And I find that there's always this like reservation in the back of people's mind. Like, if pageants really are about providing platform for advocacy, then why do we have an evening gown or an opening number or even a swimsuit round for some of the other pageant systems? Well, my answer to that is quite simple. I think it's shocking to see well-rounded women. I think it's a statement. Women can dance, women can glam up and feel beautiful and confident in a sparkly dress. Women can parade around in a swimsuit and still be intelligent, passionate, goal-driven, career-oriented, committed to their community. And most importantly, us women can take back what was originally used to sexualize us and deduce us to our physical traits and turn it into an experience of professional development and growth. The glamorous part of pageantry to me is also a celebration of my femininity, and it's a choice to show others a version of myself where I feel most beautiful. And personally, it's also a creative outlet. An example of this is an orientation dress that I wore at Miss Canada that I worked with a designer on, and we filled it with the design of the Pacific dogwood flowers all over the dress. And Pacific dogwood, of course, is the provincial flower of BC. And it was a small homage to my home province. And my opening dress also had maple leaves around the sleeves. And then the evening gown that I wore at Miss Canada had red, blue, and yellow sequins all over the dress. And those are the colors in both the Filipino flag and the BC flag. So it was like kind of a representation of myself too. So pageants really gave me an increased sense of self-worth and purpose, because my love for pageantry took me to a journey of not only rediscovering my culture, but also being proud of the identity that I formed for myself out of my lived experiences. I am a child immigrant. I live with anxiety. I'm a social worker. I am a volunteer. I am an advocate, and I am a beauty queen. I am proud of all of this, and I grow even more prouder of this when I see young girls and other women who look at me in awe and see me and see me for my accomplishments and not for my looks. I'm not the textbook pageant girl. I mean, I'm a Filipina representing Canada. I'm 5'3.5". I have crooked teeth and I don't have rock solid abs. But here's what I want everyone to know about me. I don't want to be the textbook pageant girl. I want to redefine her. I want to be remembered by the things that I had done for my community, not by how tall or how fit I am. I mean, yes, I do want to be remembered by how I look, but not because I'm shallow, but because I want girls who look like me with small eyes and a big nose and yellow skin and a petite frame, that if they want to make a difference, it's what they look like matters only to those who are seeing them and thinking, I want to be just like her. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, you're such an inspiration for young and old, everyone. You're like a true natural beauty, I'd say, both inside and out. So thank you for sharing such a heartfelt experience and about your immigration experience that many of us can relate to. And yeah, I think it came straight from the heart. So thank you so much.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you so much.
I have a quick request, and I'm sure our audience and listeners are also curious. Would you be able to share with us that little Q&A session of the pageant?
Of course. Okay, let's figure out how to screen share here.
Yeah, on the bottom.
Oop, that's not working.
And in the meanwhile, I'd also invite our audience to send in any questions you might have for Bremiella. So after we see the little short video that she has here to share with us, I'll ask her questions.
Is that my screen? Okay, here it is, I think. Hopefully there's sound.
Yeah. Speak about a difficult time in your life and how you overcame it.
I believe the most difficult time in my life would have to be when I immigrated to Canada at 10 years old. Having to be immersed in a different culture in a different country, it was difficult for me to belong. And I think I was at a point in my life where I was having a hard time with my accent. And even to this day, it's hard for me to speak English because I'm always self-conscious about making mistakes. But I've learned to accept that it is my flaws that make me who I am. And I overcame the fact that, as an immigrant, it's part of my identity. And I learned to choose who to surround myself with. And it didn't matter to me whether I sounded different or not. And I think that's how I overcame that difficult time in my life. And I'm really proud of how I became from that. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I was really
congratulations again.
A minute, so.
Thank you for sharing that with us. It's nice also to be, I missed the pageant. I must be very honest. I did not follow the pageant, but it's great to meet you, and it's great to have actually visualized the Q&A session, which is what made you the winner. So yeah, thank you for the beautiful person that you are. I have a few comments to share with you. Koshro Beramandi from Festival Accès Asie says, very moving presentation, bravo. Melanie Jouet, also from the festival, says, you are so powerful. Thank you to represent girls like this with all this beauty.
Oh, thank you, Melanie and Cosro.
I don't know if any of you have any questions to send in. Please do so. Is there something else that you would like to share with us, Bremiella?
Oh,
future projects, something you're working on at the moment?
That's actually a good question. I'm in Saskatchewan this weekend, and I'm promoting my community project, Spread the Word Inclusion, which I actually just won top 25 under 25 for. Just hit the mark there. I turned 25 in June, so yeah, so I'm going to be starting to slowly and safely travel across the country and just interview Special Olympics athletes and talk about their lived experiences and how COVID has affected their day-to-day life. And yeah, so I'm really excited about that.
Oh, congratulations for being such an inspiring person to many. And do you have other special projects lined up for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so just traveling all over Canada. And
traveling, you're so lucky.
But safely though, because we still have to abide by the COVID-19 guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kosho just sent in another message. Can we watch the moment she was announced, Miss Canada?
Okay, we can try. Hold on, let me just figure out the time stamps of when it was.
Because yeah, we have about 20 odd minutes left for this presentation. So yeah, I think the audience is eager to see more.
Okay, I think it's actually on the Miss Canada website, so I'm gonna go there. Just bear with me here.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, there's a question in the meanwhile from Jade, at also part of the festival team, and Jade wants to know, are you planning on Miss Universe?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so actually there's Miss Universe Canada and then there's Miss Canada, and that's the pageant I was talking about that had the swimsuit round. Yeah. So Miss Canada, we get sent to Miss Continent, which is in Las Vegas. And yeah, I would love to go. I'm just gonna wait for, the USA to really, control their COVID right situation. So yeah, I would love to go, and I'd love to represent Canada and create dresses that represent me and Canada. So yeah, let's see what happens.
So Jade says, do it.
Just for you, I will.
Well, you have many supporters here to go represent Canada and represent your country of origin.
Yeah. All right. So I think I
continue inspiring young women. So they also, I think you have a great message about how to look at pageantry from a very different angle, that you are a role model, not just a Sports Illustrated swimsuit contest winner, right? So
yeah,
that there's so much more to you, and I'm very happy to meet you and to learn so much about you.
Thank you so much. So I did find the video for the crowning moment.
Yeah, please share it.
I will share it in 1 second.
The moment we've all been waiting for, our new Miss Canada 2020. Bremiella de Guzman.
I think it's, yeah. All right. Well, fun fact, Christine, who is actually crowning me, is also Miss BC 2018 to 19. So it was a back-to-back win. So it was really cool. And our pageant director at Miss BC was very proud of us and very excited to learn that it was a back-to-back win. It's like very rare that happens.
So I assume you'll also be presenting the next Miss BC. Just that is that how things flow?
I think maybe we can stop there. I'll just share the link for it because my Wi-Fi is terrible.
That must have been such an emotional moment. I mean, how many months do you prepare to present at the pageant?
So Miss BC was held in July, and then Miss Canada was March the following year. So I think just under 8 months. Yeah.
And that's full time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was balancing work and pageantry, and then I had, volunteering as well. And yeah. Can we buy your crown on eBay? I'll try to look for it. I'll duplicate.
Oh, there's another request from Koshro, our art director at Accès, and he says, would you like to be our spokesperson for the next year's edition of the festival?
Of course, I would love to. Yes. Oh, that'd be amazing.
And, and then you saw Melanie's message about she wants to buy your crown on eBay. And Jad wants it as well. They're going to be fighting over your crown when you watch out. If you come to Montreal to present for us, your crown might be stolen.
That's okay. No, that's
or borrowed. Maybe everyone will want to do a little photo shoot with your crown.
I'll do like crowning moments.
All right. Does anyone have any other questions, comments? Bremiella? Let's see, questions. All right. So how are you perceived by the Filipina community? You must be an idol, of course, for all young women, but how does the older generation, I mean, there's a certain pride, obviously, and how are you perceived after being crowned?
Yeah, so I think the Filipino community, like, okay, pageantry in the Philippines is so huge. And so when I was already working with some of the Filipino organizations beforehand. And when they learned about it, they were so happy. They like announced it on their Facebook pages. They wrote a newspaper article about me. And yeah, they're just so stoked. And I mean, even when the pandemic started getting worse in March and April, I work with an organization called Circulo Pampangueño Association of BC, and we started to deliver face masks to the senior community or the Filipino community for seniors. And I started to sew for the first time in a long time. My grandpa, he was a tailor, and he taught me how to sew, but then I stopped because, I got busy. But then there was a need for face masks to be delivered in our community. So I figured, you know what, I can't do any community events, so I'm gonna go sew. I'm gonna sew as much as I can. And I'm just hitting my 500 face mask mark. I mean, yeah, it's not a lot. I mean,
that's a lot. 500 face masks is a lot. Hand stitched.
Yeah, I've seen people do it in a week, like 500 masks in 1 week. But of course, I'm working still, and I wish I could do more, but there's only one of me.
Well, that's already a lot. That's more than 0 masks that I made. So, bravo.
Thank you.
Oh. Are your parents also involved in community organizations, Filipino organizations in BC?
Well, my dad actually, he was working out of the province, and he'll do this rotation where it's like 3 weeks in there and then 1 week back home. But that stopped since COVID. He's been back home since, and he's hoping that once he's settled in his routine and COVID is a little bit more mitigated, then he can go back in his community. And my mom, she's a healthcare worker, so she's trying not to be out in the community too much these days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but she always comes with me if she can.
That's great. Well, there's another comment from Intisar. It says, agree. This is in response to comment by Melanie, who says, you are so powerful. Thank you to represent girls like this with all this beauty. And then Intisar says, agree. Being yourself is the key for the success, in my opinion. Good luck in your life.
That's right. There's only one of you.
And then obviously they want to buy your crown. And, oh, okay. Kosho wants to join the panel. He says, can I get into the room to converse? I have a good idea. Yes, Kosho, of course. Please join. I see the festival is already one of the panelists. Oh, here, Kosho will be joining soon. Oh, here we go. So we have 10 minutes, Kosho, for your idea.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Bremiella. Nice meeting you. I'm glad that I responded to your message on the Instagram. she got in touch with us and asked if she could participate.
Yes.
And as I was listening to you, and as you know, this symposium, the intention behind this symposium is to create a network across the country with all different Asian Heritage Month festivals. So I thought maybe in that case, you can be the voice of all our organizations for next May. So you will be the spokesperson for the festival Accès from Montreal. And then we know that the Asian Heritage Month Society in Vancouver have programming as well. So maybe we can join the two organizations and you present both of us. And if there is a chance that maybe we can invite you to come to Montreal as well and then try to build on this, because for our intention as well is to promote and get the, get the young generation to take over. You know, we are thinking about our succession, and I think this is a great opportunity to offer to young people that, you know, we have to care about, you know, our identity, our heritage, and moving forward. So I asked this officially from you. You accepted it. I'm going to bring this up with my colleagues at the Asian Heritage Month Society in Vancouver, and try to make this arrangement maybe with other provinces as well. So we will have one unique voice next year that represents all the Asian Heritage Month activities during the month of May. That would be, I think, a good act from all of us together to show our unity.
That was amazing. Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes. And it's recorded, so you can hold it.
Yes. All right.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you so much, Cosro.
Pleasure, pleasure. I had forgotten to put my camera, so I get to see it. I was too excited about my proposal, so I forgot to put it. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We still have a few minutes, no?
Yeah, we have 8 minutes to be precise. If you...
Yeah, do you want to talk about your experiences as well with other Asian artists? Do you know them? Have you been, you know, working with them, or you know, if you have anything to share with us?
You know what? My mom and I actually do this traditional Filipino dance, and yeah, and I was supposed to dance with her at what one is Q1 Park here in Saskatchewan, but it collided with the time that I'm presenting. So, but we can do it at a different time and a place, right?
You want to do it now?
She's too shy. Oh my God.
We have one of the greatest, I believe, Filipino dance group is in Montreal. They call Pamana, and they are fantastic. And one of the pieces that I love, and I present them, I try to present them as much as I can, is a bamboo dance, which is fantastic. It's like such
oh my gosh! Yes, tickling, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Tickling,
so,
yeah.
And we have tonight as well at our time at 9 o'clock. I'm conversing with another friend from Philippines, a woman. I don't know whether you noticed that in our program. Rosel Pienda. So she's right now in Australia, but she will be talking to us. She's as well an art curator, and she's an activist. And I'm sure she will love to hear from you. And I wish that you get to know her as well, because she's coming to Montreal next year. She was supposed to come this year from Philippines to present Filipino artists in Montreal in our program. But unfortunately, because of the COVID, she could not make it. But we moved the program to next year. So she'll be here in Montreal. And that would be a good moment that, you know, you'll be here as well, maybe, and then do this sort of not only national, but international connection. Because all we need is just connection and unity and growing together. And that these are all very exciting elements that can bring us all together.
Absolutely. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I'm happy. I'm ready to meet you guys.
And if you ever get the chance to come to Montreal before next May, you are welcome. We make a team of welcoming you here in Montreal, and show you around and show you that and present you to Filipino communities here in Montreal. We have a good relationship with them. They are very great people.
I would love to. Oh my gosh. Yes.
So put that on your agenda.
Okay, I will keep in touch for sure. I'm sure I'll have a Montreal stop before May.
Excellent.
Great.
Excellent. Yeah.
Awesome.
But not in January or February. It's going to be too cold.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yes. Excellent. All right. So it was I mean, for me, it was a great pleasure to have you among us during this symposium. Is there anything else, Kiran, that you'd like to add?
No, I'm very excited by this invitation. So that's very cool, Kasha, for
let's make it a
Bremiella.
national voice and then go in advance with this. And, something us together. Yeah, great. So from my side, thank you very much, and good luck for all your future activities. And keep us in touch. Stay in touch with us, and keep us informed about your activities. And we certainly stay in touch.
Okay, for sure.
Yes. All the best. Yes. Bye-bye. Bye, Kiran. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Bremiella, for sharing such a personal and touching immigration experience, and also sharing with us your beautiful vision and how you're inspiring for so many young women across the nation and internationally. So thank you. And in the spirit of moving beyond acknowledgement, I would like to invite everyone to join us at the First Nations reflection events to hear more about their perspective on what we are doing in this symposium and the dialogues that we've had so far. So there are many more events to come, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you all there. And yeah, Bremiella, hope to see you at some of the other presentations. I think we go on till 10 p.m. Montreal time. This evening.
For sure. I'll be there. Okay.
All right. I have another presentation next, so maybe I'll see you at that one.
Gosh, I'd love to. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Have a good afternoon.